Once again, the What It Takes Radio Company is here. We are here to help you reach your audience and make your mark in the marketplace. Hey, we begin adventure number 2 in how to be a world-class Jesus entrepreneur. And today we're going to be talking about feeling the pleasure and then on this Super Bowl weekend creating a 1-minute Super Bowl commercial. Let's see if we can learn how to do just that. Yes, indeed. I'm Stan, and I'm the radio man. But I also am the leader of a brand new movement, the Christian Entrepreneur Network, and part of our premier work is doing just exactly what we're doing, a podcast called How to Be a World-Class Jesus Entrepreneur. So it brought to you by What It Takes Radio and the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We're putting both of those organizations together, and we hope that you will agree that you will be a part of them, because we believe that this is in this deep, difficult, but opportunity-rich times. This is the time to make our mark, and we'd like to help each other do it together. So welcome to episode adventure number 2 on how to be a world-class Jesus entrepreneur. Well, I'd like to cover a few things today. You're all very, very busy. I know that. So we don't take a long time on these programs, but we do want to encourage you to take, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour sometimes, kind of a TED Talk length where we help you become just that, a world-class entrepreneur, a Jesus entrepreneur. As my good friend Chell pointed out, he said there's something a little bit wrong there with the sign, Stan. And I said, yes, but it's purposeful. By the way, do you see what it might be? If you are, let me know, and that'll show me how observant you are. But when it happened, we let it stick. There's a good reason why we did that. We'll talk about that later. This is the week of the Super Bowl. Here in the United States, and obviously it goes around the world. So I thought we'd talk briefly a little bit about that, but I want to actually put a couple other things right in front of you right off the bat today, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, at least the Super Bowl show, because that's what it is. It's not really a football game. It's a fantasy football. It's a showtime. That's what we do. That's what they do. That's what it seems everybody does. Hey, first of all, I just simply want to make sure that you understand that when we talk this way, we're talking about a state of mind and a state of spirit, as well as a state of action. State of mind. Yeah, state of spirit, and a state of action. And by the way, if you're an entrepreneur, you take action. What I'd like to encourage you to do is to go back 100 years to the story, which many of you know about, the story of Eric Liddell. And just last year, the 100th anniversary was celebrated of when Eric Liddell from the film Chariots of Fire, because of his Christian convictions, refused to run in the 1924 Paris Olympics in his best race, which was the 100-meter, because it was on Sunday, but then took the 400, which it was not his best, but he won it in a world record time. And of course, part of the wonder of that film, and by the way, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, because Liddell was an entrepreneur, he's a moral athlete, he's a real man. Yeah. And he was a runner. And the story revolves around part of his conflict between his faith and his great desire to be a world-class athlete. And he practices and practices. And one day in the scene, he's a bit late to a program, an evangelistical program for youth. He's late. And his daughter, his sister, Jenny, is a little bit upset with him. She said, all you do is run and run and run. And then that classic line, I almost tingle inside. He said, Jenny, don't you know God made me fast? And when I run, I feel his pleasure. And that line has struck with me ever since I saw the film. And it's been something that has led me, what am I doing when I really feel God's pleasure? We're trying to make a lot of choices about what we should be and what we should do in these challenging times. But let that sit on you. What are you doing when you actually know God made me, and when I feel his pleasure? Be ready to give that some thought. Let that, as I often say on radio, let it sit on your head. Let it stir your mind, touch your spirit, move your heart. Just a little bit. Okay? Think about that. There's another line eventually on that, which we'll talk about in terms of, how the passion works in our own lives. But please keep that one in mind. Now, one of the things about my long career as a business performance coach, and this caught on me because I was actually not only a business coach, but I was a broadcaster. I've always been. I've actually been a broadcaster for many years, even more than I've been a business performance coach, and both of those have been long careers, but one preceded the other. And so because I had a broadcast background, I saw when the Super Bowl commercials started to come, I knew how to do that. I knew all about that. And I've done a whole lot of analysis about that because I've written myself thousands of commercials. And in fact, part of my work is as a radio and video guy. I've done a lot of spokesperson work. I've cut a lot of commercials. I've written a lot of commercials. I've performed commercials. I know how to do that. And that's what selling is. And part of what we're all about is to understand that if you're going to be an entrepreneur today, you're going to have to learn to do exactly what I'm doing. You're going to have to learn how to, as I say, be behind the microphone and, in front of the camera. You're going to have to learn how to use the modern media. I'm sorry if you have a trouble with that. I understand that. Then you find ways to understand it. Then if you are, as some are and some were, you say, I'm not comfortable performing in the media. Then you find someone like me who helps represent you and does some of the spokesperson work to make sure that your company and your business has a performing presence on the media. That's just the way it's going to be. We oftentimes use the expression going back many years now, dead tree marketing is dead. And what we're saying is that folder, that brochure, that business card, no matter how nice they are, all they are is a piece of paper. It's a dead tree. It has no personality. It has no energy. It's a dead tree. It might be a nice one, but remember, most people do not make a sale. They don't buy something because of information. It's deeper than that. Oftentimes it's because of you. Remember, until people buy you, they won't buy your products or your services. The first person you've got to sell is you. And then your services, then your products, and then the reputation of you and your company. But here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Let's assume, and I play this game, let's assume that you are a go-get-em entrepreneur, and because you have to get out there and meet people, you do that. One of the people you like to meet is an old-fashioned uncle of yours who was kind of the black sheep of the family because he just was different. And People liked him, but he was a little bit weird, a little bit different, but you kind of liked him and became good friends with him. And uh, he seemed to have a lot of money, but nobody knows how he got it. Now, see, I'm making this story up, of course, just a little make up story. But the idea is that one day you got word that he passed away. And you're very, my goodness, all about that. And so the story goes on. But what it turns out is that a lawyer tells you that because you are an entrepreneur and because your kind of, weird little uncle liked you so much, he's left you a whole bunch of money. Wow, good, that'll help. And he said, well, it's kind of funny. He actually didn't leave you any real money. What do you mean? He said, well, here's what he wrote out on a little note. And he pulls it out and says, he says, please make sure that, Joe, he always said that if he could just get in front of enough people, he could really make his business go. And he's really worked really hard at that. It's a hard job to make a small business work. And he said, well, you know what? He just said that he's going to pay for you to have a Super Bowl commercial. 100 million people, 150 million people. They will hear your 60-second commercial. Now, what would you say? What would you do in your 60 seconds? Now, I oftentimes gave this as an exercise to people who were putting together their small business plan. I said, okay, you probably don't have the $10 million to buy a Super Bowl ad and the millions of dollars to produce it and all that, of course. But if you had that opportunity, what would you want to say? What would be your story? How would you use that 60 seconds of worldwide fame to make your company work? What would you do? So I'm going to leave that challenge with you, but I'm also going to tell you that there is a formula for good commercial writing. And I'm just going to give you the acronym first, and then I'll put words to it, and then I'll just let it sit. And if you're curious, you'll come to me and say, Stan, I'd like to know more. Okay. To write a good Super Bowl ad or any ad, whether it's in the newspapers, whether it's in the old-fashioned telephone directory, whatever, a brochure, whatever it is, a presentation or a speech you give, AIDA. AIDDA. AIDA. And that's a formula which I have created based on a basic formula that I learned, as many, many people did, but I modified it just a bit. But here are what the words mean. A good promo commercial, attention. You got to get their attention. They're doing something else. They don't care about you and your ad. Number 2, you have to keep them interested. Number 3, you have to describe something that causes them to say, that would be nice. Desire. I would like that. I would like that. That would be nice. Attention, interest, desire. Then you got to quickly tell them, what's the deal? The old Donald Trump, the art of the deal. What's the deal? How can they make a decision? What do they have to decide? And then action, attention, interest, desire, deal, decision, action. And you've got to do all of that in 60 seconds. It's a challenge. but it can be done. I've done it many times. Uh, and remember, then you have to know, what really do you want them to do? What do you want them to feel when they see or hear your ad? What do you want them to experience? What do you want them to know? And most importantly, what do you want them to do? Now, you see, you might be very, very good at what you do, whether you are selling tortillas or running a taxi service or buying big trucks, selling, tacos. Okay. But you have to understand how you need to help people make buying decisions. The art of making people do something they don't want to do, and that is taking their hard-earned money and giving it to you because they have discovered that you have something that they might want or desire. That's what it takes to be an entrepreneur. So I'd like to just leave that with you today here on adventure number 2. Remember, I'd like to hear from you because this program we are going to start doing as soon as we get 3 or 4 people. We're going to actually do it live in front of an audience. And we'll start with 3. And then, of course, it'll go worldwide in the later recording, but we're going to actually do it live in front of people. And if you want to be a part of that little going group in which you are a part of the show, which then is recorded, and then we put the music and all the stuff to it and then put it on the air to go worldwide. But you will be part of the live recording production of the program. So first of all, remember, look at the sign. What's the problem there? What's the problem that Shell pointed out? Okay. Secondly, hey, think about this. What are you doing when you feel God's pleasure? Number 3, are you ready to learn how to use the modern mass media in your marketing of your business? Are you ready to learn how to use the microphone and to use the camera, and that you are knowledgeable how you will use the mass marketing media? That's how people get their information today. People don't want to read things. They want to experience things. Faith comes by hearing, sound, adventure, energy, personality. All of that goes in to the making people or helping people or attracting people so that you can exchange your story, and then perhaps a good thing will happen. And that good thing will be is you have something to sell and they have something they want to buy. And that's what makes the marketing world go around because sellers meet buyers and buyers meet sellers and they do a deal. Thank you for your time. Reach out to me right now, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. We're fixing our website, but I want you to understand that we have a full course, a full class that we bring into your company, bring into your world, bring into your church, which is just that, a full half day, maybe full day presentation. We take you totally through what it means to be a world-class Jesus entrepreneur and how to get started doing just that. Jesus was a master entrepreneur. He was one of the best ones in the world. He was one of the world's first franchisers. And we have spent 30 years trying to discover how Jesus might have built a business, as well as how Jesus might have done a radio show. That's what we do, and we hope to do it well. And at this stage in my life, I'd like to find a lot of young men and women who are younger than me who would like to learn how to do these things so they could teach them to others, and not only teach them to others, but make money because they are bringing value to others. This is not meant to be a ministry in the sense that we usually think. This is a business. We're in the business of helping Christians become world-class entrepreneurs. That's what we want to do, and we want to do it well. And we can do that. That doesn't mean you get anything free, but you do. You get this program free. But the program itself, remember, everything worthwhile costs somebody something. And please keep that in mind. Jesus knows that even the cause of your redemption, it might be free to you because he paid for it. Remember that. I'm sure you do. Reach out to me once again, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. We'll be back next week, but we want to build a group of world-class business entrepreneurs who follow Jesus, and they build a business that makes a difference, a business that lasts, a business that helps them take care of their family, build their community, become men and women with deep generosity, people who've had a special God event in their life. If you'd like to know more, again, reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com. We'll send you all the stuff. We'll send you a little book to read, and we'll make a connection that will work for you. We'll be back next week with another adventure, another episode on how to be a world-class Jesus entrepreneur. And then we'll tell you a little bit about the mistake and why we let it stay there. All the best. Take care. Bye for now.